y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is Jatan with all things Jatan, and as you can tell by the title of this video, this is a long overdue video regarding how I feel about like my house. Do I have any regrets, anything like that? Everything that I have been asked in my questions, I'm going to try and address the best way that I possibly can. So if you are interested in hearing this video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Leave me some comments down below, so if I don't address something, you can definitely ask me going forward. But I'm gonna go ahead and start the video because you know I can just go ahead and ramble. So just like a little backstory, I purchased a new construction house through Century Homes back, well, I've been here, it'll be a year in December. I started the process, I want to say in September. If you watch previous videos of mine, like I literally would go to like model homes when I lived back in Delaware, and I would literally manifest the type of home that I wanted. I knew I wanted a loft. If I had a basement, it needed to be a new, like a, what's the word? A finished basement, because having an unfinished basement is very pricey, very expensive. I wanted a garage. I wanted a laundry room on my main floor, which is where like the bedrooms are and things like that. Those are like things that were like non-negotiable. Now, if you would have told me that this time, well, September, yeah, this time last year that I would have been buying a house in Georgia, I would have thought you were like crazy. But I was doing my research. I reached out to my manager at my job just to be closer to my mom. When I came to visit my mom like last August, I'm like, you know, my parents ain't getting no younger. Let me just try to figure out something to where I could be closer to my mom. My dad is married, my mom is single, so if anything, you know, she would need like the support and everything more so than my dad, is what I was thinking. So I started looking, and this is right around the time where the housing market was crazy. I had a realtor, which that's one of the points that I wanted to make. A lot of people feel as though you don't need one when going through the home buying process. That may or may not be true. I had one because, again, I was relocating from Delaware to Georgia. I picked one because I knew I couldn't be here all the time, so I wanted a representative for me here in Georgia. Like, I don't know the rules, I don't know the regulations. I just felt more comfortable having somebody that I could contact that was not a part of the builder's corporation in order to answer or address any concerns that I may have had. Okay, so with that being said, a lot of the properties that I was getting sent initially were like in gated communities. However, they were a townhouse, and I don't have anything against a townhouse. However, I had just come from a townhouse. My very first home that I've ever had was a townhouse. So I'm like, I don't care nothing about it being gated community or whatever. I mainly care about like the space and the other things that, like I said, were non-negotiables. And they were a lot more costly than what I ended up getting. So with that being said, I ended up finding the house or whatever, and I kept finding like new construction. I did my research on the builders, and I did see some red flags once I realized that like they had switched the name of the company. And I feel like that's why a lot of people reached out to me. When I was doing like my research, I checked YouTube. I could not find any physical houses to like where you could have a look inside of them. It was only like the model home that you got like online. So I never even, on my initial video of my empty house tour, like that is till to this day my most viewed video, and I'll go ahead and add a card here so you can go and watch that if you have not already seen it. But I never even put like who my builders were, and people were like reaching out to me in regards to that video. So I did my research, and I'm just like, okay, there was some bad reviews, there were some bad things going on, but I just really wanted to, if you think that I'm going to come on here and, you know, bash anybody or anything like that, I'm gonna give you the actuals and factuals. Like, that's just what I'm known for, if you know me. But I didn't have any of those issues, like when I was reading the reviews. And there were also like houses that had already been previously built. I think I was like the second phase in this particular development, and the reviews that I have been seeing have been in like a different state. So I went forward with the process. Now what I will say I had an issue with was communication, because I was told that my house wouldn't be ready until like April, or you know, like different things. I kept getting different times, and it may not be a big deal to somebody. However, it was a big deal for me because, for one, I was selling my house in Delaware and I needed to know when to have everything set up and arranged for my house here. So like, people were not getting callbacks. My realtor was asking me, hey, did you get this? Did you get that? She was reaching out to the builders, no response. So with that being said, whoever y'all got working in the office, either get her some help or get her up out of there, because that's very unprofessional. It was like, I'm not a witch, a magic genie. I can't just get in my car and get there overnight. So that was like the biggest issue that I ever had during this home buying process. So that if you done with the video, you done with the video. But that was like my only issue, was like getting people to respond, getting people to call me back towards the end of like the process. I don't know if people weren't coming out here checking the job, because again, I can't come out here every day, every week to like check on the status of the house. When I first came to visit, I was told that it wouldn't be anything here other than like breaking ground. I also did a video on that. It was like literally the foundation put up on my house when I came down here for that visit. So I don't know where the lack of communication was, but that's what I had experienced. Now what I do want to say is, because I feel like people do this a lot, and I hope that this doesn't come across the wrong way, but you got to do your own research. A lot of times people will block their own blessing because they're going off of somebody else's experience. What I may have endured may not be what you endure. What the people that had these bad reviews and things like that may not be your experience. And this can happen with any builder. So if you are trying to find things to talk you out of it, maybe you're not ready for the process, or you know, maybe this isn't a company that you want to go with. But it should never be at the hands of somebody else. It could be an angry person that, you know, didn't like anything, or didn't like how somebody said something to them, that is giving you that kind of rating or review. So with that being said, I don't know if you know this, but if you watch my last video, I'm still without a stove. And even though I'm without a stove, that has nothing to do with the builders, technically. You know what I mean? Like, they came out here, I thought it was something with my circuit breaker. They tested the wires on the back of my oven, my stove, and saw that it was a bad wire. So I actually had to contact the manufacturer to like come out here and do the work, and they never showed up. But again, that has nothing to do with the builder. I don't regret my house. I don't regret any of that, based off of it had nothing to do with the company that I had to get my house built. The people that were like, the oven is from Whirlpool, which is a household name brand. I just felt like, if anything, I'm having issues with them. Like, their customer service is horrible. Like, the service technicians that they were going to send out to have it repaired was a no call, no show. I'm a single mom, so at the end of the day, just being without a stove or oven since like the 12th of September is ridiculous to me. Like, and then when they were like, oh, well, we're gonna have somebody come out in the next couple of weeks. And then what? Then if they don't come, then what? You know what I mean? So those are things that I have experienced. But I wanted to bring up that situation because it's very important that when you're in a home buying process, it gets chaotic a lot of times. And if you are the sole decision maker for your household, your family, then there's some key things that I want you to take note of. When you move into your house, make sure that you have everything registered, everything, you can think of. One thing I can say about my builder, I think her name was Keisha, the one that I was dealing with. She wrote down who I need to contact if it dealt with anything regarding plumbing, who I need to contact regarding anything electrical. You need to understand your contracts, especially with the new construction. Are you covered? You know what I mean? Like, are you in good hands if something were to happen? When I contacted the electrical guy, he was like, oh yeah, you're good for 2 years. If anything boo 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 goes wrong, your appliances are covered. Like when I call Whirlpool, they're like, oh, well, let me get you to another line because you're covered, you're protected. Those are the words you want to hear at all times, because the older time would have went and just replaced the whole new stove and all of that. But since we're working on our budget, our finances, and houses are not cheap at the end of the day, we're gonna let them fix it, because it wasn't what's the TikTok video? I'm gonna let God fix it, because if I try to fix it, I'm gonna go to jail. And you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, understand your contract. Have somebody that works on your contract. A good sis that started following me on Instagram reached out to me, and she was just telling me about her blue taping. And I'm not saying any names, so sis, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but these are all things that I feel like we can grow from. So grow from and know from, like learn from. So she was just telling me how she had did a blue taping twice. So if you don't know what a blue taping is, the blue taping is towards the end of your home buying process. So when you get ready to move into your new construction home, because I never did it with my home that I had owned the first time, you go around and you mark any, you put blue tape, like blue tape anywhere that you see any imperfections, things like that. And the builder or whoever their team is supposed to come in and fix those imperfections. I even had the builder in here helping me. She was in here finding stuff that I didn't even see. But my good sis that reached out to me on Instagram was like, you know, I had 2 blue tapings now. I am close enough to the house that I'm buying. So I went back in there and the tape was removed, but the issues were not fixed. Like now there's even a bigger hole than what was there before. So she was like, and I go to closing in a matter of 2 days. I think it was like a Saturday. She was going to closing like on a Tuesday or a Monday. What do I do? Like, do they have to fix that? So I reached out to my good brother Eddie, which is a blessing. When I tell you he's like my mentor, even though he's a broker, I go to him for all things related house buying process. I don't know if y'all think that I'm like a realtor or something like that, or I'm in that field. Nah, when y'all reach out to me, we've already established a rapport. We've already established a family. I'm reaching out to the actuals and factuals. I'll try to Google first, which Google is gonna be your best friend. But if I can't find the right answer, then I'll reach out to him. And I don't like utilizing him a lot, because at the end of the day, he don't get nothing by taking his time out. This man got a whole family. And that's why I said it's important to have a realtor, even if you are getting a new construction, because they get commission, not from you, but they get commission. So I can't sit up here and ask him to stop everything, but I did reach out to him for this particular individual because I was going off of a consumer standpoint. So I was telling her, honey, like, I wouldn't sign them papers if I was you. If things ain't done up to par how you want them to be, you're buying a brand new house, so that house should be perfect when you go to closing. And after talking, something just in my spirit didn't sit right with me. So after talking to him, he was like, what does her contract say? And I'm like, honey, I ain't getting into all that. That ain't none of my business. He was like, she needs to get somebody that understands contracts, because if there is a certain clause in the contract, like certain things, if it's like a paint chip or something like that, they consider that to be cosmetic. And if there's a certain clause in the contract that says if you don't show up for closing because X, Y, and Z is not done, again, there's a certain period of time to where you're covered, you have a warranty on your home for these things to be addressed and fixed. It's no reason for you not to go to closing. Like, the builders can technically turn around and sue you for breach of contract. So that's why it's very important to read your contract. Anything you're putting your signature on, you need to know and have an understanding of what that actually means for you in case something does not go right or whatever. So I just wanted to give you all like that little heads up, because I didn't want to tell her the wrong thing. And that is very important. Another myth that people have with like new construction is, oh, it's a new house, I don't need no home inspection. What am I gonna get a home inspection for? That's an extra $400. That's an extra $500. Let me tell you, you better get that home inspection. And a home inspection is good for a number of reasons. And I would not suggest, when you're going through the home buying process, whether it be a realtor, whether it be a home inspection, go outside of the builders. So like, I just have a trust issue. I just feel like if I'm going to go with a home inspector that is hired through the builders, you could tell me anything. You get what I'm saying? You could tell me that the house is good, the foundation is good, and next thing I know, I'm like the witch off of Wizard of Oz with my feet hanging under the thing. You just never know. So with that being said, get your own home inspector or whatever from a different company. Make sure you research them. How long have they been in business? Reviews from customers. Like, get to know all of that stuff, because if there's anything on that report that is not up to code for a new construction home, they're gonna find that. You may not know. Like, this is my very first new construction home. So I've had a house before, but it was never new construction. Get to know. Get somebody that is experienced in the field. Do not just go with anybody that's $200, because that's the kind of work you're going to get. Also, with that home inspection on a new construction home, get a radon test. Get a radon test. I cannot stress that enough. Get a radon test, because a radon is like a odorless, you can't see it, chemical that is very common once you break ground. Like, just imagine like concrete being broken or whatever. These chemicals have been linked to like causing cancer and stuff like that. Look it up. When I was going through the home buying process, they forgot to add in my radon, and I'm like, whatever y'all need to do, y'all need to go ahead and add that in there, because that's what I asked for or whatever. So sure enough, mine was not too high, but it still fell for radon. I had to have a system put in place. So if you see my empty house tour, or I don't know what video it is, but if I could find it or whatever, I'll definitely link it. But I have pipes that I opted to have put inside of my pantry, because that's a door there. It's not a sore thumb or whatever. But it's going to carry on for the length of the time that I have the house. Now, it is possible that the longer the house existed, it would have went down, but you just never know. And I'm not going to sit up there and play Jeopardy with my life or my kids' life. So I went ahead and got the radon machine, because again, it did not pass. Since the radon machine has been here, it is good. I'm clear, and I have that machine that constantly runs. So those are the two things that I would definitely say. Don't just assume that because it's a new construction, you do not need a home. But I went ahead and got some notes, because these are things that were explained to me, so I knew to expect them if the issues arise. But these are things that maybe not everybody knows, so I want to leave you guys with some things to look for when deciding on buying like a new construction. So one of the things is like draining issues. If there are, like when you're walking around, like one of the things that happened when, well, it didn't even happen, sorry. It wasn't anything that happened, but during a home inspection, they had not yet put down the side, which is the grass and everything. So, and my neighbors to the left of me have like a little slant that comes down to my yard. So the home inspector was like, oh, y'all gotta do something about that, because he couldn't necessarily tell, hadn't rained, if the water was going to come towards my house, if there was going to be any drainage issues or anything like that. And one thing to like keep in mind is, like, if there are drainage issues, usually you'll see puddles and like pockets of water like in your yard or whatever. So you want to definitely make sure that there should be a slope guiding water approximately 4 inches away from your house. So those are like things that you want to check for, to look for, when doing your walkthrough or, you know, just establishing. But by this time, you're already in contract. Like, this is what I'm saying. So these are important things to know. You can maybe ask the builder, like, how does that work out? Because you don't want to get yourself in a situation to where you feel like you want to back out and now you might be on a rope or whatever. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is it's a new construction home, so a lot of things are not going to settle on the first day. So it's not uncommon that you may have some cracks in the wall, or even like in your driveway or your sidewalks. So like over time, moisture is going to hit those areas, and it is possible that it expand, it'll crack. Those are common. Like, it doesn't matter what builder builds your house, these are common issues that you're going to find. However, everything has a limit. Everything has gauges to be concerned. Like, if it's just like a tiny crack, you definitely want to monitor it, make a mental note, reach back out to your builders, whatever. But is this something, like, these are all things that you will find out during the process of being in your house. Sorry about that, y'all. So it's not uncommon to notice nail pops, cracks. Over time, your house is going to settle. Like, these are all things that you can kind of anticipate, and sometimes it's unavoidable. However, that's why it's so important to understand your contracts, understand your warranty, so that you know what protection you actually have. And don't wait. Like, don't sit up there and wait till the last minute. I know that when I first moved in, like around the border of my wall, like there was some like pockets of where it looked like it was air in there, and I had to call them out. They came right away and fixed that. So if you notice something, don't let it linger. Like, get it taken care of as soon as you notice it or whatever. Also, keep a paper trail. You know what I mean? Like, it never hurts to. I'm a writer, y'all know. I like to manifest, I like to journal, I like to do all of those things. So because I'm already conditioned to be writing down and I'm actual and factual, I like to be able to sit up there and say, I talked to such and such on January 1974. I wasn't even born at that time, but I'm just giving you all a prime example of being on top of your records, knowing who you talk to, because people will try to make it seem like you crazy, and then that's when you got to become that way. So keep a record, keep a journal. All this stuff, like, you can find in your paperwork, no matter who your builder is, no matter what the situation is. Look up things that you should anticipate after having a new construction home, and it will tell you how to take care of it, how to plan for it, how to prepare for it. And make sure that you always have like a savings just for like home repairs. You should have it for car repairs, you should have it for medical expenses, you should have it for just about anything you can think of. Because one thing that like life has taught us is that nothing is always good, nothing is always bad. You just got to be ready for whatever. So I hope this helps somebody. Like I said, I don't really have any issues other than like the beginning process of, you know, I already had my contract, my paperwork in hand. Oh, and then just one more thing. This can be with a new construction or just like a existing house. Know what's on your credit. Like, don't wait all the way until you get ready to go to closing to find out that now they done found a collection that was never addressed or taken care of. Like, you want the process of getting your house to be as smooth and efficient as possible, because anything that they can do, any reason why they could find to not sell you a house or whatever, rightfully so, they won't do it. So make sure that all your stuff is up to date. If you got to dispute anything, if you got to call and make arrangements, if you think you're hiding something and something was removed, it can always reappear. Just make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you get to that settlement table, because it's a beautiful feeling. It's an accomplishment. It's the American dream to own a house for some people. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for some people that is linked to the American dream, and you don't want all your hard work and all your hard effort to be thrown down the drain just because of a technicality. So like I was getting ready to say, I hope this video helps someone. If you have any specific questions or whatever, leave them down below. You can message me directly. I always respond. I always get back to whoever leaves me messages. But like I said, if this is a video that you were trying to determine whether or not to go with them, I can't answer that for you, because my experience may not be your experience, vice versa. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can expect the upload from me every week. So I'll see you guys next time.